Okay. Ugh. Daddy needs a smoke and a drink. Mm-hmm. Hello, hello. Welcome to the Dudeist Journey podcast. I am your host, the Reverend Phillip K. And here we're going to be talking about a different perspective on life, bringing in different views, helping understand. I'm a reverend in the Church of the Latter-day Dude. The Dude abides. Dudeism is basically modern day Taoism. As there is an art of war, there is an art of peace. And that's what we try to practice here. So, what I like to do is I like to look at all religions, faith, science, try to find the connections. And of course, every now and again, I speak, a little personally on things. Bring my own perspective into it. So sit back with me, have a smoke, have a joint, have a drink as we get into tonight's fun topic. Now, as some of you may or may have not noticed, I've talked about this. I've cut doing the video. Look, I'm not famous. You don't want to see me. There's no one famous here. It's just me. So let's just chill. Okay, let me adjust this mic a little bit. So, as you also might have noticed, is that my podcast is no longer on Anchor.fm. They were purchased by Spotify. Yay me! And Spotify's changed some rules. My old episodes, you hear a commercial for Anchor.fm. Well, Spotify wants me to change that, but Spotify isn't going to give me even the option of being able to play commercials and earn any money on my podcast because I don't get 100 plays every 60 days. This is their rules. And I'll get like 92 plays and then a new month will start and it'll roll over and I'll have like 7. It's like, damn it, I was almost there. So I'm dealing with their bullshit right now, which I'm not too happy about, but let's see how it goes. Try to make the podcast available at all places and trying to expand the audience a bit. I mean, I haven't exactly like purchased, advertising time or anything. But it's something to consider down the road, man. Ugh. For those of you who listened for the first time, I started this podcast back in back after my little brother died from an overdose in 2020, and I just recently lost my wife of 22 years to cancer just last Christmas. So yeah, I'm not sleeping. Mm-hmm. Whenever people ask me how I'm doing, I'm just like, oh, fucking terrible. It's like, how the fuck do you think I'm doing? Oh man. Look, I'm moving forward. I'm keeping the boat afloat. I'm keeping my shit together. But my problem is, man, I can't sleep. I haven't had a good night's sleep since my wife passed. It's been tough. That's where I'm at, and that's what I'm dealing with right now, step at a time. And I've tried a lot of stuff, man. I've been trying sleep music and herbal remedies and natural remedies and not so natural remedies and over the counter and drugs and alcohol and all kinds of stuff. It's funny. I had a friend. We were walking and we passed this homeless guy, so I gave him a few bucks, and my buddy didn't. And I was like, "Hey, man, how come you didn't, give that homeless guy some money?" My friend goes, "Oh, he's just gonna spend it all on drugs and alcohol." And I'm like, "Dude, you spend all your money on drugs and alcohol. Like, what the fuck? Like, at least, I mean, he needs it more than you do right now." He doesn't know where he's going to be able to take a shit. Oh man, I tell you, it's a crazy world out there, and I've been checking the news, and there's been a lot of this. I usually try not to comment too much on current events or topics. I mean, sometimes, but it's just there is so much bullshit out there, and so I'm always trying to kind of like steer clear of it. But of course, as you know, if you get on any social media apps, a bunch of stuff's bound to pop up. And for some reason, now we still have a problem with the gays. I don't know what's going on there. But I saw this whole thing about like Bud Light and Target. I don't know if you've seen this, but Bud Light had a trans person in one of their ads for beer. So a bunch of fucking rednecks got all pissed off and shot up a bunch of Bud Light beer cans and swore off Bud Light and blah blah blah. And then then Target was making shirts in celebration of Gay Pride Month, which is June. And a bunch of people were all, they're indoctrinating our children. And it was like, I can actually talk about that a little bit today from personal experience. Because I just couldn't, I was like, really indoctrinating your kids? Look, man, growing up my whole life, gay, LGBTQ, XYZ, LMNOP, that whole community, they never bothered me. They never tried to convert me. They never tried to get me to be like them. They never tried to seduce me. None of that shit. Christians, on the other hand, oh, those fuckers were knocking on my door every Saturday. It's my only day off. And some fucker comes over and is like, do you know the Lord and have you read our book? Fuck off, man. It's my only day off. The hell is wrong with you? I live in the United States. Of course I've heard of Jesus. Have you heard of our brand of Jesus? No, I don't want your brand of Jesus. Got enough Jesus, man. Because you have to understand, growing up, I went to church twice a week. I went to Bible studies. I went to prayer groups. I did the whole fucking nine, man. I did it all. I was like, I sure as hell don't need someone up coming up and asking me, telling me about it, man. Oh, thank you. I'm serious, man. Like people at school chucking Bibles at you because you're wearing a Marilyn Manson t-shirt or a Bad Religion t-shirt. Fucking nuts, man. What's the point of having freedom of religion if all of you people are just gonna try to convert folks to just one? It's like, where's the fun in that, man? Kind of defeats the purpose. And I don't understand why some folks have to make what they hate so much a part of their lives. People making videos about, blowing up Bud Light shit or shooting it or pouring it down the drain or what the fuck ever. It's a complete waste of money and time. I thought the one thing that we've learned, especially with the internet, is like if you don't like something, just keep scrolling, just ignore it. I walk past this same shit, the fucking, rainbow T-shirts and fucking Bud Light can. I walk past the same shit you do. You don't have to buy it. You got to think of it like voting, man. Think of your dollar as a vote. Don't want to vote for something, then don't put your money towards it. And sure enough, this whole debacle, it caused like Bud Light to like lose some money and Target lost some money. And which I found funny and ironic because the thing is like, I understand, look, I understand why Target is selling rainbow t-shirts. It's because they're trying to cash in on that dollar. They're trying to make money. Bud Light's doing the same thing. Problem is all of the people I've known that are in the LGBTQ XYZ LMNOP community. Sorry, it's just too many goddamn letters. All of the folks that I know, and I've been to their homes, they don't drink Bud Light. And they don't shop at Target. So I'm sorry, but I mean, have you ever heard gay people talk about, oh, I can't wait for the newest fashions at Target? No, it's like, come on, man. So I just think it's kind of nuts. It's like, okay, it's like take this for example, okay? Me, Reverend Phillip K. I don't like seafood. Think whatever you want, say whatever you want. I just don't like seafood. I don't like the texture, I don't like the taste, and I've tried everything. I've tried the lobster and the crab legs and the salmon and the shark steak. I've tried all this stuff. I don't like it. It just doesn't taste right to me. I met a guy who doesn't eat meat for the same reasons. He goes, it has nothing to do with being, better for the planet or I'm trying to save the animals. He goes, no, I just don't like the taste of beef. That's it. Chicken, cool. Beef, not so much. So it's just kind of how I am with things. I'm kind of in that same boat. So I don't like seafood. Okay. So imagine me, Reverend Philip K., protesting a Red Lobster. You know, don't go in for their all you can eat shrimp. It's terrible. Down with seafood. It's like, to me, I don't go there. I don't eat there. I don't eat at seafood places. I don't buy seafood. So that's it. I just don't contribute to the business. And it's not like the business is doing terrible because I'm not contributing to it. You know what I mean? But then imagine me, Reverend Philip K., making a video where I shoot up a pile of cheddar biscuits. You know, because the seafood places are luring you in with the cheddar biscuits. They're trying to indoctrinate you. I just think it's silly, man. If you want to know the truth, you want to know who tried to indoctrinate me besides Christianity, which I was already indoctrinated. Um, but the one thing that has constantly my whole life, even today, I'm 40 fucking 2 years old. Even today, you know who's been trying to indoctrinate me? Sports. Sports has tried to indoctrinate me since I was a kid. And I tried, man. I played basketball and baseball and football. I tried out for all the teams, didn't make it, but I tried out for all the teams. I had a football and a basketball and a baseball bat and balls and gloves and a fucking golf club. I had a fucking putter. I was all into sports, man. I was watching all the games and rooting for the whole team and all that kind of stuff. I was doing all I can to get into sports, but then something happened. Okay. So let me just tell you, this will give you kind of an idea here. So I'm playing baseball. I'm up to bat. I'm not the greatest. Okay. But I get a hit and I get to first base. So I'm like, okay, great. Now, once again, I don't know a whole ton about baseball. All right. Other than, just run to the bases and get home. Right. Well, so I'm on first base. The next person up to bat, I'm gonna call him Mr. Little League because Mr. Little League like was all about baseball and was like playing for like every fucking team on the planet. And so he gets up to bat, he hits. I'm running to second base. Everyone on my team, like practically everyone on my team, because whenever someone hits a bat, all the kids just start screaming. So all these kids on my team are screaming at me to go back to first. So I'm thinking, uh-oh, the second baseman got the ball because I didn't see where the ball went. I just know he hit it and I ran. So I was like, oh shit, I better get back to first. So I turn around and go back to first where Mr. Little League is coming in. We both tap on first base. Turns out the ball went to third and the third baseman threw it to first. Boom, double out. So you can imagine Mr. Little League, right? He is chewing me the fuck out. He is ripping me a new out. What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck is wrong with you? You're supposed to go to fucking second. I was like, the guys told me to go back. They told me to go back. Then, I thought the second baseman had the ball. They told me to go back. He's like, even if the second baseman has the ball, you keep going because then you're out and not both of us are, you fucking idiot. And he starts chewing me out. He's like, who the fuck told you this? So I go to the team and I'm like, hey guys, tell him how you kept telling me to go back to first. And they're all like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Oh, you fucking assholes. I got treated like shit by the whole fucking team. I took shit for months. Now get this. This was a PE game. This was a game in physical fucking education during school hours. This wasn't a little league game. This wasn't a championship game. It wasn't the fucking playoffs, okay? This was a game we were supposed to be playing for fun during PE, the stupidest fucking class in the entire educational system, in my opinion. So that right there told me that this is people who play sports, it's just too fucking nuts. It's too fucking crazy. And I kept hearing horror stories. Like I came home and I talked to my brothers and they told me all these soccer stories. Because I remember my older brothers playing soccer, but they were like, the parents were fucking crazy. Some of the parents were just insane. They just took it too seriously and they were just nuts. And so we left. We got out of the whole thing. So I'm looking at this and I'm just thinking, I better be an artist because this sports shit is just not going to fucking work out. And so, yeah, so since I was a kid, it's been sports that have been trying to indoctrinate me. Even today, it's like, did you watch the game, man? No, I didn't watch the fucking game. I didn't have any money on it. I don't give a shit. Because to me, it doesn't matter if they win or lose. I mean, half the time the players are from some other state. They're being bought and traded like fucking crazy. And then what happens? They dedicate their lives to this game. Most of them won't even make it past college and play professionally. And those that do, they get chewed up and spit out. I mean, we've all seen and heard the stories about the NFL players with all the concussions and shit. One guy fucking drank a bunch of damn antifreeze. One dude was pulling out his own teeth and gluing them back into his head. One guy fucking killed his wife and kids. Fucking nuts. So yeah, we want to talk about indoctrination. Let's talk about sports because they got sports shit all over the place. They got sports little onesies for your babies, and they got sports hats, and every school's got a sports team, elementary, middle and junior, friggin' high school, college. They've all got fucking sports teams, all of them. And everywhere I go, it's support the sports team and make sure you go to the game for this local sports team and sports. Sunday used to belong to God. Now it belongs to football. So if we want to talk about indoctrination, let's talk about sports there for a minute. But the reason I get on all thing, man, is because it's obvious that some people did not have gay friends growing up, okay? Because I still meet people that say homosexuality and being lesbian or whatever is a choice. Dude, it's not a fucking choice. I'm serious. All right. I'm sure every gay person and lesbian out there would be like, look, if it were a choice, I'd be heterosexual. So that way my parents would talk to me again. Okay. It's not a choice. Folks are just born this way. Like take me, for instance. I happen to have an attraction to goth chicks with big tits. It's just the truth. I ain't gonna deny it. I love big titties. I'm gonna say it. I'm proud. Okay. Plus, I mean, my late wife, when I met her, goth chick with big tits. I mean, later she became, this working professional in the legal world, but I'm just saying when I met her. But this is where I think a lot of people just kind of mess up, and it's when I kind of want to tell them a story. And honestly, it's not my story, but it is a story that I am involved in. But it was something that helped me get perspective. Because I grew up in a conservative, southern town, and, it was always like kill all the fags and blah, blah, blah. Ugh. So, like, I'm having the same homophobia taught to me as everybody else is doing. But then I met a kid, Scott. I'm just going to call him Scott the gay kid because that's what he was. Okay. And Scott to me was proof, absolute fucking proof that you were born gay. Because Scott was trying to do everything he could to be straight. Okay. But you have to understand, he was this skinny stick figure kid with a big head. He always wore like a basketball jersey and running shorts because he was trying to show that he's real athletic. He'd be like, come on, guys, you want to play sports? We're like, yeah, sure, Scott. We know you like to play with balls. And they'd be like, I'm not gay. Dude, the way you said that just told us you are. Now, did we give Scott shit? Of course we gave Scott shit. We were kids. We gave everybody shit. I got shit because I had a big nose. And my friend Mike we gave him shit because he was fat. And we gave my friend Donald shit because he was overweight. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Donald had small ears. Mike was overweight. Right. Sorry. So, like, we all knew Scott was gay, but we didn't care. We gave him shit. Don't get me wrong. But we gave everybody shit. It's just kind of how it was. You have to understand, in the 90s, man, offensive comedy was the thing, and being like the most offensive person while being funny was like the cool thing to do. And that's why I think a lot of comedians have kind of like gotten all shook up and shit because they're like, hey, I made a living off saying offensive shit, and now I can't say offensive shit. Well, times changed in 30 years. What was funny in the 50s isn't necessarily funny in the 80s. But anyway, so I knew Scott. I knew all the Scott all the way through high school. And Scott was a gay kid. He didn't come out until he was in high school. And, me and the other, I still had friends that were homophobic, but if they were homophobic, they were typically stupid guys who couldn't get chicks. So, but like Scott was proof to me. He was walking proof that you don't choose this, man. It chooses you. It's just kind of how it is. And there's no reason to sit there and to, you know, get all pissed off at him or anyone else in the LGBTQXYZ elemental P community. Like right now, people are saying all these horrible shit about drag queens, and none of them have ever even been to a drag queen show. They have no fucking idea. To me, it's all politicians creating distractions from the fact that they're fucking us all the time, to get us to argue and yell about a minority of a minority. I mean, think about it. How many trans people do you know? How many trans people have you seen in your life? How many drag queens? I mean, I can count them on one hand. You know what I'm saying? These folks are just trying to be themselves and live and not get shit for being different. And believe me, I know what that's like because I'm different. I've always belonged to the nerds, geeks, freaks, and weirdos group of folks. That's mostly because I was constantly questioning things. But I tell you right now, from the knowledge that I've gained and from what I've known, drag queens are not the problem. I honestly would trust a drag queen over a priest any day of the week. I mean, there are still priests and religious leaders who are still raping and molesting people. They are still out there. I'm telling you, man. The folks in these religious places and stuff, you got to clean house, man. You got to get rid of these wolves. They're all over the fucking place, man. Now, I did apologize to Scott when we got into high school because I was realizing more and more that, hey, I don't want to be a dick. Because once I abandoned the whole sports thing and got into the arts, I got into heavy metal. I got real depressed. I started wearing all black, grew my hair out. Just the world is a dark, horrible place. I just like switched my whole mind over to music and creating things. And sure enough, I got good. I got good at drawing. I got good at music. I got good at acting. I especially got good at acting because I was always having to act like somebody else. Nah, so I've always questioned things and I was a part of something, a bit different. And so I got treated differently. I got a lot of shit. I cannot tell you how many religious debates I had with people. It was like, why don't you believe in God? Why don't you believe in Jesus? It was like, look, man, just bring him out. Prove it. That's all I'm asking. If I asked you to give me $1 billion because I'm going to make you a billionaire, would you do it? No, you'd be like, hey, prove it, buddy. Prove you're a billionaire. Prove that you can do this. For me, it became the same. And that's the thing that really kind of rubbed me wrong with some things because it was like, dude, I'm just asking questions. And because they can't answer them, they get pissed off. I learned that there's no point talking with certain folks because they don't want to change their beliefs because a lot of people I know don't want to admit the fact that they've been duped. I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before. The people out there who get conned would rather find evidence that the con was true than just to believe that they got conned. People don't want to look stupid and they don't want to look like someone got one over on them. And so they just keep sticking to it. Me myself personally, I've always been different. And anytime I ever talk to someone who's, I found it hypocritical because one time when I was young, I had a buddy and and he lived with his great aunt, right? And his great aunt was pretty old. And she saw an angel, right? And so she would tell us, like, we would be in the middle of watching TV and she would come in and just start talking. Did I tell you about the time I saw an angel? And it's like, what? We were watching The Simpsons. What the fuck? you know, and then you would have to stop what you were doing and listen to her. And this was before like on demand and streaming and DVR and all that. This shit was live. If you didn't watch it, you were going to miss it. So we would miss we missed the Simpsons because she was telling us about how she saw an angel. And of course, my buddy was so tired of hearing it. He was like, "Was this before or after you took your medication there, huh, great auntie, huh?" Right? And then, like, we would sit there and joke about it, and I asked him, I was like, "Do you think she really saw an angel?" He's like, "Dude, she smokes 3 packs of cigarettes a day, and she's 80 years old. If she saw an angel, it was the angel of death." Like, but this is the thing that hit me. Here is a person who says that they saw an angel, an entity for which I believe exists, but I think she's crazy. Think about that for a second. Just think about it. I sit here and was a Christian, a good Christian, doing all I could to be the best Christian I could be. And then when someone actually comes up to me and says, like, they actually saw something in relation to my faith, I immediately thought they were nuts. It's like all of us kind of knew, that like this isn't 100% based on fact and there's contradiction here. And that's why we're seeing a lot more of the problems there. People are trying to take their states and make them extreme Christian states with all these crazy laws on like abortion and trans rights. And it's nuts and it's all bullshit. And so now it's just going to be like more work trying to get things fixed to people to understand that we're all equal. If you don't like something, don't buy it. You don't have to go into a whole fucking campaign to make everyone like you. I hate seafood. Imagine me going into Red Lobster and knocking the fucking crab legs out of your hands, screaming shit at your kids, going all fucking crazy. And the fact is, I just need to avoid the restaurant. And you might say, well, because it's everywhere. I'm like, buddy, there's seafood restaurants in every town I go to. There are commercials. There are whole stories about fishermen, right? Movies without catching fish, or some father and son movie where they go fishing. Like, trust me, buddy, it's in my face a lot. But you know what? I don't go fishing and I don't eat fish because it's not something that's in my world. I don't put it in my focus. It's not important. I mean, and it's the same way I think on this whole indoctrination thing is bullshit because it's like if you're saying that if a kid reads a book about a penguin with two dads, he's going to turn out gay. Well, that's bullshit because all my people and all my friends that I know that were gay that were born this way, they read all kinds of books growing up about heterosexual couples and they still didn't become heterosexuals. I think people need to understand that we're all different. Religion, unfortunately, is based on faith. And treating people with decency and respect, we find out is kind of a fact that is necessary for a functioning society, a peaceful society. And we can debate about that back and forth because there was like another shooting. Oh man, the gun things, man. I don't know if I could even get into that kooky shit. Ugh. That's a whole other world in itself. But what I've come to notice and to realize is that anyone in the LGBTQXYZ LMNOP community, they're not the problem. And I don't, honestly, they never have been. But because they're different, it's easy to make them a target and a mark. So that way you're not noticing the real shit that's going on. You've got Catholic priests that are saying all these things standing up against abortion and up against homosexuals and against, you know, trans people, but they're raping kids. I mean, think about it. Think about just the whole hypocrisy and irony of it all. And it's true, man. Less and less people are going to churches or temples or synagogues. What's going to happen to religion? I think anyone can guess just by looking at the facts that eventually it's going to become extinct. And when something is dying, well, that's when we're our most violent, aren't we? When we're gasping for that last bit of breath and life. And that's what I think we're seeing is the flailings of a dying ideology. Now, once again, this doesn't mean that Christianity is just, or religion, period, is going to disappear. It's always going to be there. Whether or not it has followers, we'll see how that happens. But right now, those followers have got to clean house and get rid of all these fucking pedophiles and predators and shit. You got to make these temples and churches, these safe havens. You got to make them safe. I don't think that's too much to ask. So if you're pissed off or upset or think that your children are being indoctrinated by trans people, just remember there are very, very few trans people in this world. I mean, if we had a room of 800 people, trans would make up like 2 people. Those 2 people are not the problem. Okay. And just because someone out there is trying to tell stories about people that are different, it doesn't mean they're trying to change your kids. And the one thing that I've learned is that if you try and force something on anyone, they typically are going to reject it. And my kids go to public school and we shop at Target. None of them are over here acting in any way different than they normally do. I mean, honestly, it's all about, Pokemon right now. That's what my kids are into. So, is Pokemon indoctrinating your children? No, it's fucking Pokemon. Kids like it, and then they grow out of it, and then become adults. They occasionally buy a plush here or there or something. But it's, we're all different and we're into different things. And I think that's the cool thing is that we're all different and we have different interests and we want different things. If we were all the same, it wouldn't be cool. You wouldn't know what was cool if everybody was the same. You wouldn't know pretty much any difference on anything if we were all the same. There's no fun there. And one of the cool things about living in the United States is that we're a mongrel nation made up of many people from many different walks of life from all over the world, man. It's embrace it. But yeah, I think the best thing to do is just to be respectful, let people live in peace. Let people of science make the decisions that are related to science. And we'll let the religious people make decisions on things that are related to how religion is run, okay? Let's stay in our lane, all right? Because if the assistant football coach is teaching your science class, I take a second look at whatever the hell he's teaching you. No offense to the football coaches out there. I'm just saying. I got taught some science classes by some assistant football coaches, and they were teaching like shit from like the 60s that had been disproven. It's like I kept raising my hand in class to correct him, and he fucking hated me because I was like, "I'm sorry, your shit's outdated. You got to update it, man. Come on." So when you see things that are different, just remember, like, let that stuff go, pass it by. You don't need to make a fucking TikTok video about it. You just need to just go on to the stuff that you like. Okay. Me, I don't go by the sporting goods department at at the local Walmart or Target. Okay. I typically pass that area. I go to electronics. Um, but it just doesn't have to take you over. One of the things about Dudeism is we learn is to take it easy. It's to be angry is to be very undude. It's very uncool. And you don't make good decisions when you're angry. And a lot of these guys that are getting all angry and pissed off and throwing away the Bud Light and everything, they look stupid. They look like a bunch of man children. They look like a bunch of whiny babies, and people are mocking them for it. So you have to understand that a lot of these times on these things, this is stuff that it doesn't even concern us, man. A lot of this stuff is between a person and their doctor. We don't have any business in it. I mean, imagine a group of women passing a law that all men over the age of 30 have to be castrated, or that all boys over the age of 10 have to be, what is it, have a vasectomy. You know, this is more personal choices that need to be made with a doctor and that individual, and they need to use science to get it done. Politics and religion have no place there. If you went to a doctor and you broke your arm and the doctor said you needed to pray it away, you would call that doctor a quack and you would want him, you would want his license taken away. And you would be absolutely justified in doing it. So while we're thinking on this, man, I want you to think of some ways that maybe you could try to just be cool and not let this stuff get you all riled up and listen to all the craziness that you see online, man. To take a break and take it easy. We're going to take 5 minutes, man, just 5 minutes out of the day to relax, chill, and think about what's going on right now and what we can do to be a bit more dude like in the world. All right. Let's go ahead and start the 5 minutes right now. All right, man. Well, I hope you took that time to kind of relax and open your mind up and realize that a lot of this craziness that the media throws at you doesn't even concern you, and it's not even anything you need to worry about, okay? Like when everyone was complaining about that whole, what is it? that race theory and shit they thought were being taught in schools. It was like, dude, that is an elective class at law colleges. No K through 12 teaches that shit anywhere. But a bunch of parents are all going up, screaming up and yelling up at the school board and shit, all talking crap, not doing anything to fucking help. I'm like, you want to help a teacher? Help them get paid more money. It's like the fact that like a YouTuber makes more money than a teacher. We got to change that, man. Like, I hope that the advice and telling about my story and my perspective might help you out a little bit. Might help to calm yourself and to not get so riled up and angry about all these things. You don't have to worry about anyone indoctrinating your kids because you have the greatest influence over your children more than anybody else. I remember all these moms bitching about Bart Simpson when I was a kid, and Bart Simpson was a bad example, and Bart Simpson was going to turn all our kids into a bunch of skateboard junkie juvenile delinquents and all this shit. But that never fucking happened, man. Never happened. All just a bunch of hubbub and bullshit to sell newspapers, to sell ad time and space to get your attention, man. Learn to cycle through. If you want to start focusing on something that's really going to help you, focus on how to get rich. Okay? Focus on how to get smart with money. All right? I honestly, I want to do just one episode about investing and how you can get rich slowly, not quickly. All right? Because most get rich quick schemes are a scheme, that they're not real. But there are ways that you can make your life a little bit better and more financially stable, make the world better for you. Because honestly, that's more important than whether or not a trans person can change their sex. Because honestly, do you really give a shit about it? Because I don't. That's somebody else's business. You do your thing. You want to dress like a woman and be a woman and go through the surgery and everything and wear high heels. Yeah, go ahead. Use the women's bathroom all you fucking want to. Because I'm just like the heels, man. That's commitment. That's fucking commitment right there, brother. More than you could ever realize. So take a lesson from Scott the gay kid. Some folks are born different, but they're not a threat to us. They're okay. And usually people who say they're a threat, those are the people that are the threat. Because like I said, I've taken a lot of shit from people in my life, but none of them were a part of the LGBTQXYZ LMNOP community. Okay. I know. I'm just saying there's too many letters. Okay. Like when I was in college, we had a club. It was called the Gay Straight Alliance. But then a bunch of people complained that this doesn't include everyone, gay or straight. Come on, there's lesbian, there's queer, there's trans. And so they changed it to LGBTQ. And I was like, hey, where's the straight? Where's the heterosexual? And they were like, well, the heterosexual people own all the other clubs. So this one's ours. If you want to join and help, fine. But we're gonna name it after us. And valid point. I get it. I get it. So thanks for tuning in and sorry about the Spotify problems. We'll figure something out. But I hope that I was able to tell you something that maybe might help, maybe made you laugh, maybe saw the lighter side of life, and maybe realized things aren't so bad in your neck of the woods. Maybe with just a little adjustment, little tweak on the perspective, you realize that the world is actually a lot better than what the news is telling us. Because bad news gets more attention than good news. It's sad, but it's true. Thanks for tuning in today, guys. To all my dudes out there, I hope you take it easy because when you take it easy, the dude abides. Thanks for tuning in, man. You guys have a good one. Hope to see you next time.